Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike, the creator of the One Life podcast, believes most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike wants you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The One Life podcast, it inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the One Life podcast to your playlist. That's the number 1 NE Life. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform.
All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the One Life Podcast. I am Mike M.I.C. Reed. Here we talk about positive psychology while talking about taking care of your well-being and telling your story, because everybody has an amazing story. And today we have a special guest, Miss Carlene from the amazing podcast Strong with Carlene.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for driving so far.
Of course, you know what? Honestly, when you asked me, I was like, of course I'll be here.
I know, I was so excited when you said that. And I wanted to ask you like a long time ago as well.
You did?
Yeah.
But it wasn't the right timing yet then, huh?
It wasn't the right time.
But this is the right time.
Like we were just texting earlier talking about everything is in God's time.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I was a little nervous, too. Because, yeah, I get nervous, too. Even though I've been in entertainment for 35 years, I still get nervous. Like, people don't realize that. You know, I'm on stages and I do concerts, everything. People don't realize, even the best people, Beyonce even told this on one of her interviews, like she still get butterflies when she backstage. Mm-hmm. But once you hit the stage or you hit in front of the cameras or whatever, after 5-10 minutes, it goes away.
Yeah, it does.
But once you like in that beginning stage, like backstage or even before you get started, like you can still get nervous.
Oh, don't worry. You know what? Even me too. Everybody gets nervous. Everybody has to take a breather. Sometimes we're just like, okay, hold on. It's because sometimes it's the unknown.
It is.
But it's a good thing. It's good to be nervous. Yeah. And it's okay to break through from that. Yeah. You know?
So, I mean, one of the reasons why I was nervous because you do such an amazing job on your podcast. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Because, no, you really do. And I was just like, when I first discovered your show, I was just like, wow, she's so positive. And I love positivity. Like, everything I do is positivity. So I love it when someone is just out there spreading that positivity. And you do so much.
I do. Thank you so much. And you know what? I actually checked out your podcast and I said the same thing. I saw your podcast and I'm like, let me go ahead and subscribe. So I've subscribed. I even did it to your YouTube channel as well. And I love what you do. I love that you bring other people here to share their stories, but it's also a beautiful testimony to the stuff that God put in your heart to start this, because everybody has a purpose in life.
Exactly. God gave everybody a gift.
Yes,
we just got to find that gift, right?
Yes.
But I just want to tell you a quick story. I mean, because podcasting was not in my vision at all. Like I grew up, even though I grew up in entertainment, podcasting, because I was always behind the scene. So me in front of a microphone, in front of a camera, I hated the way I look. I hated the way I sound. Now I actually love the way I sound. I don't know. I think it's the board though. But yeah, this is just never in my vision. So it was just crazy how it started. But I definitely want to hear your story, and I'll tell you mine later on how I got started. But I want to know how you got started in podcasting.
So the way I started, it's funny. I've always loved talking. I've loved talking since I was a child, okay? I used to get in trouble in school.
Wow.
But I just felt like, I didn't have a sense where I can actually express myself.
Okay.
And you see, I had so much built in me because let me tell you a little bit backstory. So a little bit about me with the stuff that I've actually struggled with in my past. I was raped and I was molested at a very young age. So I felt like I didn't have a voice. I always felt like everything that I would say, I was always being hushed. So to me, as the years went on, I started developing my voice. I started finding that voice. Yeah. See, that voice that within me that I'm like, I can be free. So looking back, I remember talking a lot, but it wasn't that I had so much to say. It's just I wasn't being heard.
Well, you know where, I don't know how old you are. We're not going to talk about age, but because
I'm going to be 38. I'm happy to say my age.
Oh.
I'll be 38, guys, next month.
Happy birthday. But you're still a baby. I got 20 years on you. But that comes from, like, back in my era, because I talk about this a lot. And this is why a lot of adults and even these days, people don't use their voice or are scared to use their voice, because back in the day, we was taught not to talk unless spoken to, but we was never spoken to. Exactly. So if you tell someone, don't talk unless I talk to you, but you're not talking to them, how are they using their voice?
So you see, I was hidden that. I had a very strong, very strict mom. And she was a single mom. So when things would happen to me in my life, I was afraid to speak to her. Because every time I spoke to her, it was either wrong. Yeah. It was either like, I don't have time to talk to you. And I had no way to talk to anybody. So for me, as I got older, I needed to express myself. So one day I said, you know what? I love talking to people. I've always loved like giving my message or just making someone feel good. And one day I said, you know what? God gave me the nudge to start a podcast. But I'm like, I have no idea how to start a podcast. What do I do? Like, what are the steps? And sure enough, I did my research, and this is 2019. And I said, what do I have to lose? Because everybody was like, you know, a lot of people, like, they put those limited beliefs, like, you can't do this. You need to have a big studio first to start. And for me, it was like, no, let me figure it out. Yeah. So sure enough, I started with my iPhone. I found the app, and back in the days, it was Anchor. And it was Anchor, and then you could put your music on there, or you could put the background. And sure enough, I just said, I'm going to do this, and people listen to it. They'll listen to it. If they don't, it's okay. But I feel like this is a way for me to express myself, and at the same time, just talk to whoever needs to hear this. Right. So sure enough, I got my little iPhone. I even had the headphones. What is the plug-in, the ones with the wire, those old headphones that we used to have. So I would make my podcast, and I remember being in our little apartment where I moved in with my boyfriend at the time, you know, with him right now, because I'm like boyfriend, husband. Right. And I remember just letting it out, and I just felt like it was like kind of like first it was like more like a diary. I was like, if somebody listens to it, they'll listen to it, but if they don't. But I'm like, for me, I was feeling like it was my therapy to just release what I was going through.
And same, right? This is my therapy. A lot of people always ask, do you get paid to do this? And I was like, dude, like, it's not about money for me. Like, nothing has ever been about money for me. Especially, like I never had a 9-to-5 job. I had a mentor at a young age, and he always told me, chase your passion, never the money. The money will always present itself. Exactly. So for me, when I started podcasting, it was really during the pandemic. I was actually, you know how everybody was doing a Zoom?
Yeah, it's a Zoom.
So I was actually teaching crypto at the time.
Oh, okay.
And once we started, I had another partner, and he had a group, and I had a small group. He had a huge group. But people started following more and more. And then we started making a lot of money in crypto, right? I've always been in investments and in stock. So I started telling him, like, dude, like, people are not going to know what to do with this money. We got to start teaching them. So it turned into a mindset training. So we started training mindset on what to do with your money, and don't just go out buying jewelry, overspending it, like, don't live above your means, all this stuff. So anyways, we had this huge following, and people just were like, Mike, I love the way you talk. I hear what you're saying. And like I said, he had a big group, but I had a smaller group. But people on his group was coming to me saying, hey, I like him, but I understand you. Because we was two totally different people, but we were saying the same thing, right? Because it goes back to people receive and deliver things, you know, and differently.
People feel it.
Right.
People feel they feel the energy. They feel the authenticity of it.
Right. That's why I've never had a script. People come on my show, they're like, okay, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. Once I turn it on, we're going to start talking. Because it's got to be real. Like, people, especially the type of shows that we have, they're searching for something. They're searching for answers. They're searching for someone to connect with. Correct. So it has to be authentic. If not, if I'm sitting here reading a script, like, you know, I have notes, but if I'm sitting here reading a script, then they're not going to relate to that. They're not going to connect. No. They're not going to feel it, right? So people was telling me, like, you know, I like him, but I connect with you better for some reason. But we were saying the same thing.
But like I said, it's just the feelings. Yeah. Everybody has a different gift, because I believe, like, you can start a podcast, but if you don't have it within you, you're just, like you said, reading a script and you're not connecting. People are going to feel that. They can feel the authenticity of it, you know? Right. So I believe, like, the fact that people felt you, they're like, hey, kind of, you know, like, I kind of want to cling on to him. Oh, yeah. You give them a sense of comfort and understanding, you know? And
then I was just like, really? Like, you want to listen to me? Like, this dude got millions of dollars. Like, I'm trying to learn from him. They're like, but we connect with you. I want to grow with you. I'm like, all right.
And it's not always about the money.
It's not, right? And I had to realize that. I was like, but it was just new to me that people wanted to follow me. Because, again, I was always behind the scenes. You know, I didn't have a huge following. I mean, people knew me in the business, but Like I didn't know people really wanted to follow me and listen
But the
to
right
me.
people, but God led the right people to you.
All right. So, anyways, when I came out here 7 years ago, I was actually working on a TV show, and I remember we was doing a photo shoot at a loft downtown LA. Mm-hmm. And at the time, my partner, the loft had a podcast room in it. And he was like, Mike, you really should think about doing a podcast. And I was like, no, I don't want to do a podcast. And so we had the room for like 2 days, mm-hmm. and we had a break. And the girl that we was doing the show with, I was like, you know what? I'm always the type of person that believes that I'll try anything once, right? Mm-hmm. Because like once I have something, then I can measure it. Like I can record it. I can say, okay. And that's what I told him. I said, let's just do a show for an hour. Let me listen to it. Let me look at it. And then once I had it, I was like, okay, now I know what I have, what I can do, right? Mm-hmm. So I did it. I recorded it for an hour. I put it together. I put it out there, and I got so much great feedback. And that was her name was Diana. She was my first co-host. Mm-hmm. And my partner, who was supposed to be the co-host, he didn't want to do it. And I was like, I thought we was going to do this. Because she was the guest on that show, the pilot episode. So it was me and him and her. She was the guest. And so when I put it out, but everybody was saying that me and her had great chemistry. So when he said he didn't want to do it, I went to her and I was like, hey, you want to like do this? Mm-hmm. And she was like, let's do it. So we recorded the whole first season. She was a trooper. But she said she only wanted to commit one season because she had other things she had to be doing. Okay.
So then you were left by yourself.
Yeah. Well, after her, I had 3 co-hosts. Oh, okay. I had a second co-host. Her name was Diana too, so I didn't have to change my intro. I didn't have to change a lot of promo stuff, which is great. And then I had my third co-host, and they all just wanted to do one season. Mm. And after the third co-host, I just started doing it myself.
Okay. So. See, you were led to be here, and that's why God gave you the vision, and not anybody else.
But it's crazy because I was only supposed to do 100 episodes, and I was supposed to stop.
Wow.
Because I heard Gary Vee. You know Gary Vee? Mm-hmm. I was on my 20th episode, and I saw him do an interview somewhere, and he said how podcasting was like the thing. And he was like, but most people quit on their 4th to 8th episode. He said, you really got to go to like 80. He said, you're not going to see no traction until you see 80. So that made me think. I was like, okay, I'm going to set a goal. And once I set my mind something or a goal, then I go for it. I said, okay, I'm going to do 100 episodes. And I thought that was a lot, and I was only on my 20th. I was like, wow. And I have a guest every Friday. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wow, I got to get 100 people to do this. But then he said something. He was like, if you're in a small community, he's like, go get all these owners. They're going to want free publicity. Mm-hmm. Interview them. And then I was like, that's actually what I was already doing. Like, I know every owner on this boulevard.
Oh, really?
That's how I met Brenda.
Oh, wow.
I just start interviewing all the owners. They're like, yeah, we'll do it. They would just walk over here. I'll just start interviewing them. Because everybody has a story like similar to yours. But most people think, because they have this big building, that they don't have a background story.
Everybody has a story.
Right. And they just see people, successful people, and they be like, oh, you just, like it was given to them. It was like, no, everybody has some type of set. Everybody went through some type of adversity. So I tell those stories. So now I have a lot of respect for a lot of these owners now, and that's why I support them. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wow, you went through all that and you still have this? Like, it's crazy.
You'd be amazed of the stories people have. Yeah. You know, even for me, when I've met certain of my students, certain of the people that I coach, and I'm like, wow, your story is amazing. You know, like I have 2 girls right now. We're actually doing an event. It's actually happening in June 29th. Okay. And it's called the God Growth and Glow. And this idea just came out. Like, I've had this idea for a long time, but I wasn't ready for it. And I was like, it's not my time yet. Right. And one day God was like, hey, remember that vision that I gave you about this event? It's not for you, but it's for me. Mm-hmm. And I said, yes. He goes, it's time. And I was like, I know, God, but he goes, it's time. And it was loud and clear. And he goes, I'm going to put the right people in your circle. I'm going to put the right people who are going to make this event happen. And sure enough, he linked me with one of my old friends too, that she does a lot of pop-ups, a lot of events, you know, and she helps a lot of small businesses too. And then we started linking up, and we've been collaborating together to make this happen. And she's the one that's getting the venue for us and figuring things out, but things are just working out the way they need to. So back to my story with my students that I have 2 girls, okay? 2 girls that I'm currently coaching. They're amazing. They're my close friends too. And the beautiful part is that they've never spoken at an event because I'm having speakers speak. Mm-hmm. I could have chosen people that have tons of followers.
Right.
But the reason I chose them is because I know their story. You see? And so for me, it was like, you know what? God gave me this platform to do this event. I don't need to look for somebody that has tons and tons of followers. People already know this story. This is a story that they need to hear.
Right.
You see? So I got them. So they'll be speaking at my event.
I love that.
So it's just giving somebody an opportunity, because sometimes it's like, and they've never spoken anywhere. They've never been speakers, but I said, well, you had it in you. You have a story, right? They're like, yeah. All right, then you can speak.
I did something similar here. So I was telling you, right next door at Pretty Little Poppy, she has a nonprofit called Minor to Majors, where she has about 12 to 15 kids that she rotate. And she brings them in, and she gives them their own little spaces, and she teaches them how to open their business, from getting their business license to sell.
That.
And she gives them their space for free. The only requirement is they have to work, like, I think 2 hours a week in the store.
Oh,
like the cash register, cleaning up, greeting people. So she's teaching them business.
I love that.
So throughout the year, and that's why when I was over my other spot, she was like, "Hey, I want you to come over here and help them." And so I've had them on my show multiple times.
Oh, that's cool.
Giving them a voice, giving them, their shine, and telling them about their story and their business.
Well, that is our purpose. I mean, God just talk about that. Is we need to actually, be of service, but also, make sure that we lead the way for other people too, and give back. That is a way of giving back.
Yeah.
So for me, it's God gives us a vision. Sometimes people don't believe in themselves, and that's why He puts us, the ones that we're like, hey, we're the biggest cheerleaders. But I think that's the most amazing thing ever. I think that's worth more than anything. Have you talked, like you were talking about earlier, like you were comparing yourself to the guy who had millions, but it didn't matter at that moment, because it's not always about the money. It's about the gift that God gave you. Right. So just looking back is doing something out of your kindness of the heart, because you're not worried about the money. Yeah. You're more like concerned. Like, I just want this person to know how amazing they are, compared to, I'm going to make this, but I'm going to look, it's for me. Because I'm going to tell you something, and I'm very transparent. I'm always very honest. Back in the days when God gave me this vision, I was doing so good. I was giving back, even when I had $100 in my wallet. Okay. I started going to, what is it called? I was in downtown LA, Skid Row.
Okay.
And I prayed about it. I said, God, I need you to help me. I want to make sure that I give back. And sure enough, I was out there at Skid Row, and I set up my table, and 3 girls helped me out. We were able to raise money, and we were just collecting bags to do that. But then here's the part. See, it got so crazy that I let the ego get in the way. You see, the ego got in the way, where I started forgetting what the purpose was. And I was chasing things for my own validation. I wanted people to chase me. I wanted people to look at me, what I was doing. See, I forgot about myself. I forgot about the purpose that God had given me before. We get lost in it.
No,
you know
what, and we do. And I was just having a conversation with somebody about that, about like my story. My stories go real deep. My mother was murdered when I was a baby. Wow. And I'm very transparent and honest with you, and a lot of my listeners know that. And I've told this story 100 times. My mother was murdered right in front of me when I was a baby, and my dad did it. And he was a police detective.
Wow.
Yeah, and he tried to hide the body. It was a mess. But I'm in the schools now. I gave up during the pandemic, I gave up my 35-year career in the entertainment business to come out here, and now I'm a student mentor for elementary school and middle schools. So I believe God put us through things to teach us, right, and to make us who we are. So someone asking me, they always ask me, like, why would you give up entertainment? Like, why would you be here, in these schools? Like, I was like, dude, I did 35 years. I did everything I wanted to accomplish in entertainment. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the fame, because I was never famous. Because remember, I was behind the scenes. It's just I have a creative background, so I just wanted to accomplish certain things because of my skill set. But I also learned that when I was 12, my older sister worked with kids with autism and disabilities. She used to take me every Saturday with her to the park to do activities with these kids. I didn't know God was preparing me for my son. When I had my son when I was 25, he had cerebral palsy. Wow. So ever since then, I've been working with kids with disabilities.
Because you know what it's like.
Right. So all my whole career, if you really think about it, my whole career I worked with kids since I was 12. Even into the whole 35 years of entertainment, it was all kids shows, except for a couple of them. But the majority of them was kids shows. So I've always worked with kids. So he put me there to teach me how to work with kids. Because you and these nowadays in these middle schools and elementaries,
Things are different.
you have to have that patience.
Yes.
And you have to understand behavior in it. So I study behavior now. I always say, once you understand someone and their story, then it's a different conversation. But most people assume.
All the time.
Right? They assume and they don't get to know people. Like I always say, people don't just wake up being an asshole. They really don't. It comes from somewhere.
Yes.
Understand where it comes from, then it's a different conversation. It's a better conversation.
Yeah, and I'm a huge believer on that too. You know, there's so many times that people underestimate a person because of their background, where they're coming from, you know. And I think that was something that happened to me because of the things that I was told.
Right.
People would lie to me. And, you know, growing up, I thought I was dumb.
Right.
I thought because in school, my grades weren't always the best. But the thing is that nobody really took the time to really like be patient with me and to learn, right? And so growing up, I had that limited belief that I wasn't good enough because sometimes of what my mom used to say about me. Yeah. But it wasn't that she was being intentional to that. She was just being like my mom, but a very strict Latina mom. You know, sometimes they say words, but as kids, you don't know the difference.
You don't.
You don't. So the way she would verbalize certain things, I would take it personal because I didn't know any better. She was the one that I needed to trust and everything. So growing up, I thought that I wasn't good enough and everything. And, you know, finally breaking free from that. And now I insert that to my kids, making sure that, hey, the way I talk to them is how I truly feel about them, you know?
So segue into one of your episodes that I was listening to. You have an episode called You Can't Become Her While Living Like the Old You.
No way.
Okay, so that was very interesting to me because I'm reading this book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And before this book, and it's from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he combines the field of quantum physics, neuroscience, brain chemistry, and biology and generics. It's all about, and when I was going to therapy, just to rewind a little bit, when I was going to therapy, my therapist gave me this book called The Bradshaw Family.
Okay.
And it's about the we system and the I system, right? So the breaking the habit of being your own self, about being yourself, people are like, what are you talking about? Breaking the habit of being yourself. As a child, everything's given to you. Like your name was given to you, your beliefs, everything was given to you.
Everything.
You really are who someone told you was. Most adults still think that. There's someone told them there was. They never found their true self, their true identity, right? So it goes back to don't speak. I'm just going to tell you who you are.
Exactly.
This is who you are. It's like, no, that's not who everybody is. Like everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own identity. God made everybody different.
And with a purpose.
Right. And I get that's your mom, that's your parent. And some parents do an amazing job raising their kids. But at the same time, some people just grew up where their environment told them who they was. And that's not true.
Nope.
And they just never grew up out of that.
Exactly. See, on that episode, I talk about this because there's a lot of women out there that are still repeating the same cycles over and over again, right? And I teach this in my coaching program. Like I go very detailed and I break it down for them. You see, when I explained it to them is like, look, if you want to become her, if you want to become the millionaire, you want to become that strong woman, you got to start acting like her. Because if you keep repeating the old self, that's what you're going to keep getting.
Right.
You cannot be your old self trying to be your new self. It doesn't work that way. So you see, breaking free from those old limited beliefs, but you have to reprogram your mindset.
Yes.
See, it's super important that you reprogram your mindset because everything that you were taught from the past, it's going to keep repeating itself. But unless you have to throw out the trash. You got to clean it up. You got to declutter. You got to clear out that inbox, girlfriend, before you can actually move forward.
Yes.
You know, it's the same thing with your house. When you have a clean house, how do you feel? You feel amazing. You can think better. You can focus better, right? But if you're constantly thinking about the same thing and you're still carrying that old weight with you, you're not going to run pretty fast, right? Yeah. You're not going to go pretty far. You're going to stay in the same spot over and over and over again.
It's kind of how Mel Robbins,
yes,
where she talks about the habit loops. like every day we're training our mind to we're programming our mind for the next day, for our next move, for our next whatever. It's our habit loops that are really running our lives every day. Mm-hmm. And until you break that habit loop or retrain or program new habit loops, you're constantly doing the same thing over and over again, and you're not even realizing it. Mm-hmm. Like, I just had this conversation with somebody else. Like, and I want your thoughts on this. Do we really use 20% of our brains, or do we use 100%?
Some people don't even use most of it.
They don't. But I guess we was all believed that we only use 20% of our brains, right? But I had a guest on a couple of weeks ago who was a behavior analyst, mm-hmm. and she said, no, there's science that's proven we actually do use 100% of our brains, right? Like right now, you're not thinking about breathing, you're just doing it.
You're just doing it. Right?
Like me moving my hands, I'm not thinking about it, I'm just doing it. So there's a lot of things that we do every day that we're just doing without thinking about it. And that's the other part of the brain that we're using. Mm-hmm. So
I can see that. You see that. That's why, like, reprogramming your mindset, reprogramming the habits that you do every single day breaks free from that. And I teach that all the time. And I'm huge on that because something that works for me. See, back in the days, I was doing the same thing over and over again. Right. I'm like, why do I keep repeating these cycles? Why am I dating the same men? Mm-hmm. Why am I putting myself in this lack belief? Why am I always broke? Like, what's going on? You see, like, and until I finally started figuring out, I'm like, wait a minute, I got to start removing these thoughts. I have to stop removing what I'm telling myself daily, because whatever I'm telling myself, that's what's going to keep manifesting into my life. You see, so I had to start being more disciplined on my thoughts, on the things that I was doing, the way I would react to certain things. And I talk about this all the time. And I'm going to be honest with you, like, it finally clicked for me, because I knew this back then without even noticing that I was doing it back then. But I was like, well, why is it still out of place? And now I finally have the system where I'm like, well, works for me. You see, back in the days when I was dealing with everything, like, everything was going good for me. Everything was going good in a sense where I was finally breaking free. I was able to talk to women and help them heal what they were going through. But I was still healing within myself too, right. You know? But I started noticing that I was still doing the same habits. I was like, how can I give women, you know, advice about something if I'm still repeating the old habits? How can I tell her to leave her ex-boyfriend or her to leave to the abusive relationship when I'm still in a very abusive relationship? You see, I have to really break free from that, because I know it's not right. I know it's not okay to be with somebody who, you know, is not good for you, or right. being in the position where you need to break free from something. You see, so I had to start programming myself, and I had to start having and trusting God, right. and having faith that He was going to work things out for me. So I started removing things. I started throwing out the trash little by little. And it takes time. Oh, yeah. You know, like I tell my students, I'm like, you just can't think you're going to say your affirmations every morning and say your declarations, and because you're listening to no, you got to do more work, unfortunately. But you know what? That's everybody thinks it's a hard work, right? Right. No, that's actually the easy part. The hard part is doing the same thing that's going to keep you stuck over and over again. That's hard. That's hard, being in the same position over and over again. Like, why would you want to put yourself that? Why would you want to stay stuck?
You just did a post about that. What was it? Oh my God, what was it? You just did a post. What was it? I thought I wrote it down here. Oh, if you're worried about the cost of going for it, think about the price of sitting still.
Staying in the same spot.
Staying in the same spot. People don't think about that.
Yeah, they don't. To be honest with you, like, that's one thing that I had to realize when I was going through my transition and my everything. I'm like, dude, you know what? Like, we complain about being in the same spot, but why am I still here? Right. It's not God's fault. No. It's my fault. And I choose to be here.
And, you know, I tell people all the time, and some people don't get it right away, but I have a couple of friends that years later, they're texting me now, I'm like, okay, I get it now. I have a thing that I say, life is simple, not easy. Life really is simple.
It really
is. Life isn't doing anything to you. Mm-hmm. We as humans make it complicated because of our external situations. And that's why it's hard. Mm-hmm. But life is really simple.
It really is.
It really is.
It really is. It's also to your perspective, how you see things. Like every single day, like we can get like, for example, earlier today, we were stuck in traffic. We could have been seeing it like, you know what? Like we could have got frustrated. Yeah. We could have been like upset. It could have ruined our date. But I was like, you know what? No, we're meant to be on this drive. We're a little bit late. You know, things are working out. It's fine. You see, I could have held on to that hardness, right? But I did. I said, no, it's fine. Everything's flowing. Mike said everything's fine. It's fine. We're good.
And I mean, that's the hard part, right? Because we want things to go a certain way. Like I heard one of your shows, you was talking about it, because I'm the same way. I like structure.
Me too.
I like everything planned out, and it really starts off your morning. That's why I have a morning routine. I have a morning routine for a reason, so I can set the tone of my day.
Exactly.
And if one thing goes wrong,
oh yeah,
whole day is gone.
We're the same way. Me and my husband, we're the same way. Yeah. He has his routine, and he goes, babe, like, if I don't have my routine, I'm off, and it does make a difference.
The simplest things, like every morning I stop at Starbucks, and my team laugh at me all the time. They be like, "You go to Starbucks every morning? Like, do you have stock in it?" I used to, but
you're like, as a matter of fact, I do.
No, this right here is my chai tea I've been having for the last 25 years. Okay. I drink the same drink every day. It could be 100 degrees outside, and I'm still drinking this.
Chai tea is actually, I actually started drinking that too. It's really good.
It's really good. No, but it's like my go-to. If I'm ever stressed or just having a bad day, I will straight stop everything, go to Starbucks, get that, and I'm fine.
That's really good.
So one morning a few weeks ago, I always order before, and there's one Starbucks, even though they have a million Starbucks, there's one Starbucks that I go to all the time, said there's no ordering ahead. And I didn't want to go through the drive-thru, right? So I was just like, so I just went straight to school, went straight to work.
Oh, you didn't get your chai tea?
I didn't get my chai tea. And everything was just going bad.
But you made a choice.
I made a choice.
You didn't go in.
I didn't go in.
Okay.
All right. And so, I'm big on acceptance. And that's what a lot of people don't realize that. And I teach my students this too. Like, you have to take responsibility, accept responsibility for your actions.
But you see what you did there? You dictate how your day went, because you said my day wasn't good.
It wasn't.
You see? But you made it not good.
But you know what?
You had a choice.
Also, right. But you know what? I recognized that. And 2 hours into the day, I went on my app and I had to deliver it, and I was fine.
Okay.
I got back on course. I said, I'm gonna make another choice. Instead of $4, I'm about to pay $20.
But you see how we self-sabotage ourselves?
Yeah.
Little things like that. Yeah. Because we can be like, oh, I woke up late and I'm not in my routine. But then we're like, wait, take a chill pill for a second. It's okay. Relax. It's okay. Yeah. Go meditate for 5 minutes.
Right.
Just, okay, we'll figure it out. There's always a solution to everything. See, you found the solution. You found the solution where you said you were having a bad day already. Let me switch this up. Let me go ahead and just order it, And your day went good.
It went good. And, it's funny because, that day it was like, why is everything going wrong? It's only 8:30. It's like 8:30 in the morning. I'm like, and then somebody looked at me and they was like, where's your chai tea? And I was like, that's it. I didn't get my chai tea.
It's like I'm off balance. Something's missing.
Yeah. But I mean, that is true. And like you were saying, we learn these things, right? Mm-hmm. It took me years and years to get to where I'm at, and I'm still not even fully healed. And then we never will be.
I think it's just that's life. That's process. You never stop learning.
Right. You never.
No, you never. You can never stop learning.
Right.
There's always new things to learn, to adapt. And remember, our journey here in life is to always learn, is to always grow. That is how God molded us. We're on this beautiful journey to adapt in all these new things.
No, right. I mean, and I think that's the key point. Like, there's always room for growth. Mm-hmm. Like, I tell people, you're never going to be 100% ready to do anything. That's why you just have to do it. Like I was talking a minute ago,
just jump to it.
You have to do it. That's why I love the Steve Harvey jump video. Mm-hmm. You ever watch that one?
No, not yet. But I love Steve Harvey. Oh, he's awesome.
When you get a chance, YouTube Steve Harvey jump video.
Okay.
It's like a 13-minute video. So powerful.
I'll check it out.
You gotta jump. He talks about how people are just existing and not living. They're standing on the edge, looking at everybody soar, right? But he says, it's your choice. You can stand on the edge for the rest of your life and watch everybody else soar. And he said, when you first jump, you're going to get bruises. You're going to hit the rocks. You're going to get scrapes. But at some point, you're going to come up and soar like everybody else.
Yeah, that's one thing I always tell people, you just got to move. I have this mentality where if I have something in mind, I just do it. I don't question it. I don't even worry about it. Like, I'm like, God, if I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail. But at least I know I did it. I don't like living my life with what ifs. Right. I hate it.
But
I hate it.
but so you just said if you don't try, you fail.
If I fail, but it's not. It's failure's a good thing, though.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to point out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Failure is
failure's a
not a
good
bad
thing.
thing. It's how your perspective, how you look at it. I tell people all the time, you could take something bad or negative, but it's your perspective. You could take it as a negative, oh, I hate today, F my life, how most people say. Or I could look at it as a good thing, change it around, and look at the positive.
You know what? I used to look back in the days at the word failure, and I used to think it was bad.
Yeah.
Until I started really understanding, failure is not actually bad. It's actually really good. And, me and my husband were talking about it too. And I was like, no, well, this was my ego. I was like, no, well, I don't like to fail. And I didn't like the word fail because I didn't really quite understand until I was living in the process. So finally, I'm like, I like to fail because now I'm learning new things. And now I try something different that I didn't try before.
Right. But like I'm in elementaries. I tell the students all the time, I expect you to get in trouble, to fail, to do all these bad things. How else you gonna learn? You got to go through failure to get to success.
And that's
the only way you're gonna learn.
And that is so true. You know what? I failed in so many businesses. I'll tell you this: like God gave me this vision 10 years ago. I started my YouTube channel 10 years ago. Okay, and then I failed. I failed in the part where I just didn't move forward with it because I was just not consistent. And then I started doing businesses. I started my makeup brand, and that was cool, and I ended up doing a butter company. And I was doing so many things, but the whole time I kept learning from these things, right? Because I'm like, wait, I'm not supposed to be here. And that's when God rerouted me back to Strong with Carlene, the whole business called Strong Fitting now. You see, I had to go through these things because I try to do things by myself. But God is like, you're not listening to me, Carlene. This is not where I put you in the beginning. You didn't go through all your journey in life for you to be doing this and do that. Yeah. I put you had to go through the stuff that you had to go through so you can help other women like yourself. And I said, okay, God. So God, I finally started listening.
You know what? I think so too. Like even like when I first moved out here, I really did give up entertainment. But like I said earlier, I was doing a show out here. I don't think it was meant for me to actually complete the show because I never did. I'm here.
You're here.
Yeah, I think that was just the gateway of God showing me, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be doing this. And that's what led to the loft with the podcast studio in it, and it turned into this. I scrapped the show. We never finished the show. Like this kind of took off, and I just kind of went with it.
See, so it's just like listening to that nudge, that purpose that God has aligned for us, because everything in our life is molding us for our purpose.
Exactly.
But a lot of people don't see that. They think like, I'll give you an example. There's other women that have actually been sexually abused, and they've gone through a lot of these toxic relationships, but they just stay there, right? They think that their life has no purpose because of their background. But in reality, if you really take a step back and really look at your life, you're like, wow, everything that I went through and where I'm at right now, I was supposed to be here. And some people don't understand when I say, I'm actually grateful, and that sounds weird. I'm grateful and thankful that I actually went through that crazy part of my life where I got raped and molested. See, like I was able to break free from that because now I'm able to help you guys. I'm able to change, help you. I'm giving you guys the tools that I used to help me out, break free from that. You see, imagine if I would have never gone through that. See, this is my purpose, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So they're like, you're right. I'm like, so whatever you went through, use your story, really look back, really spend time with God, and really be like, okay, God, why was I here? Because you have a purpose in life. Just because I'm here and I'm Carlene trying to have a podcast called Strong with Carlene, have my business, doesn't make me better than you.
Right.
You're freaking special too. You're here. And if you're still here, it's because God is not done with you. And they're like, you're right. You're right, coach. You're right. I needed to hear that. I'm like, yeah, because sometimes we need to get reminded of who we truly are.
You just touched on something. But you're right. I went through a depression a couple of years ago. And I was waking up every day saying, you know what? If I'm waking up today, God obviously had me here for a reason. But in my mind, I was like, okay, I don't want to wake up. Like at night, I would be like, I don't want to wake up tomorrow. Like I was done with life. I was like, I had suicidal thoughts. I was like, I don't want to wake up. I never had a plan, but I was just like, I don't want to wake up tomorrow. Like I'm done hustling. I'm done struggling. Like I don't want to do this no more. But every morning I woke up, I was like, okay, you got me here for a reason. I'm still gave it my all. I was like, if you got me here for a reason, then I'm rolling with it. I'm rolling with you all the time. But being grateful, wanted to touch on that because you just mentioned that people don't realize that even like in death, right? Even or breakups, grief, people are sad. And I get it. We lose our loved ones or we go through a breakup. Like most couples, they hate their exes, right? Like I was married with my kid's mom for 25 years. Me and her are great friends. People don't realize, you know what, God put people in your life for a reason. At one point, you loved this person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it didn't work out doesn't mean you have to hate each other. No. Like, be great. Look, again, take the negative or the positive. You have a choice. How you want to look at it. Mm-hmm. You loved this person at one point. Maybe it didn't work out, but look at the lesson from it. You learned something. Mm-hmm. I know you did. You had to, or you're not looking at it the correct way. Mm-hmm. You grew for something, right? That's true. So, again, and I brought up death because it's the same thing. Yes, we hate it when someone dies and we go through the grief, but I was just speaking at my ex-wife's mother's funeral, and I said, you know what? I'm grateful for her, that God put her in my life, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have met my ex-wife. Yeah. Wouldn't have my 2 beautiful kids. It's how you look at things.
Exactly, your perspective.
Yeah, it's sad that she's gone now, but he put her in my life for 20-something years.
The beautiful gift she gave you.
Right. Same with relationships and everything else. Yeah, we hate it when we lose things, but we have to be grateful for the time that we had it, where we had that person in our lives, because it was for a reason.
And I agree with that. You know, I was actually having a conversation with my husband about that. I was like, we're going to my old stomping grounds where everything changed. And I actually had a very toxic relationship out here. And just coming here was like, I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel like, oh my God. Like, no, I was just like, this is crazy. This is crazy I never thought in my life that I was going to come back here with the love of my life now, with the person who loves me and genuinely cares for me. And 10 years prior to that, 2 years before, like I was in a very toxic, abusive relationship, but I'm grateful that it's crazy. Like I'm back with the love of my life now in a different situation in my life. Now I'm no longer broken. Right. I'm healed. I'm happy. I'm a different person that I was 10 years ago, and coming back here, I was like, I'm so grateful though. And I don't even hate my ex. I'm happy for my ex. I've moved on. I've been so healed where if I would see my ex, I'd probably say hi to him. Right. I have nothing to hide. I'm happy for him. But I'm glad that he was in my life because it made me a stronger person. It made me realize like, okay, this is not what I want, but this is what I need. Right. And now being with my husband now, like I'm so grateful because I'm glad that relationship didn't work out, but I'm grateful because now I get to be over here with my new love of my life, right. And the person who's changed my life and the person who makes me happier, because if I would have never been in that situation, I would have never really grown to the woman that I am today. But I had to face those obstacles. But I'm generally like full of gratitude for everything. And I don't have no hate in my heart for that person.
So I feel like a lot of our stories are very similar, right? Because the only
reason
Are you
my twin?
The only reason why I moved out here was because my second wife.
Oh, okay.
Like my first wife, we had a house in Santa Clarita. Her and my kids are still out there. So I had the house. She went and got her own house. But my second wife didn't want to live in that house. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, well, whatever. I'm not going to keep it. I'm just going to sell it.
She probably was like, I want a new reset, okay?
Right. Well, and that's what it was. She was like, they live, because they were still living out there. Her ex was still living out there. She was like, I don't want to be nowhere. I don't want to run into him in the grocery store or nothing.
It's a little bit different.
Right. She was like, I don't want to live in this house that you live with her in. Right now, I'm like, because I paid, I don't know if you know real estate, but I paid Santa Clarita, I paid $200,000 for that house.
Mm-hmm. In Santa Clarita?
Yeah, if you imagine what it is now. Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh. But anyway, so I told her to find a house that she wanted to live in. She found a house out here, not me. I never in a million years would have chose Palmdale, Lancaster. And I'm on the west side of Lancaster. I'm like borderline Quartz Hill. And a nice little area, too. Mm-hmm. But she picked it. She didn't last but 6 months. Kicked her out. And I've been here all by myself the last 7 years.
Wow.
I could have packed up and left, but I chose to stay. And I didn't have hate. At first, okay, it was. I'm going to be honest.
A little bit.
I was mad a little bit because I could have been in Santa Clarita right now.
Because I hated.
We go through the process, right?
Yes.
I did
I
go
wasn't
through the
healed yet.
process of hating. Like, I just hated her. And mind you, this was 6 years ago.
Okay.
Our divorce just ended 4 months ago.
Wow.
It took that long.
Well, welcome to your new journey.
Thank you. But, I mean, I could have been just miserable forever, but I chose the positive path. And you know what? I've made a life out here. Like, I do the show now. I'm in the schools. I'm doing what I love. And I love it. But I could have easily went the other route.
But you didn't get the nudge. It wasn't meant for you.
It wasn't meant for me.
You didn't get the nudge. God said, no, you're staying right here because people need you. These kids need
Exactly.
you. People need you here. You're
Exactly.
hearing this podcast. So we're grateful for your ex-wife to bring you here because we wouldn't be here right now.
No, I know. And that's what I mean. Like, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been out here.
Yeah. So thank you.
So,
to your
yeah,
ex.
no,
So
I know.
ex, if you're hearing this, thank you.
No, I know. I dedicated a show to her one day. Yeah. But yeah.
That's awesome. But isn't that refreshing that, moving forward in our lives, like when we're finally understanding ourselves and healing, like it's so refreshing to know that we've let go of that old resentment or that hate. Because also remember, when we hold on to things, we're only getting sicker too.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah.
So imagine like if we didn't move forward through all that stuff, all those obstacles or hating that person, imagine how we would actually, develop that hate within us and our life wasn't going to be moving forward.
Right.
So the way I see it now is like, I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful that I went through the process where I did, because I did have hate. I did have a lot of anger. I did have sadness. And I was like, but I'm also grateful that, you know what? Like, I've let that go. I'm happy. I'm healed. Like I said, if I see that person, I don't hate. I'm thankful and I'm praying for that family, for his family, his growth, because I'm just really happy in my life.
No, I know, right? But let me ask you this, because I know I think about this all the time, and this is something that I just recently learned. Honestly, that God has always been my foundation. Always loved God. But I recently just learned, and I'm talking recent, like the last 6 months, to just give it all to him. Because I'm a fixer. I love helping people. I don't know how to tell people no.
Same here.
I literally in the last 6 months finally came to an aha moment. Like, no, I can't do that. I can't do it right now. And that's what I tell people. I'm sorry, I can't do it right now. Maybe next week, next month, something. Right now, I can't do that. But also giving everything to him, because we can't control people.
Nope.
We can't control life. As much as I love fixing things and I always want to be the savior, like I want to help you. I want you to see what I see, but you know what? I can't control people. I'm going to just give it to God. I literally just learned that. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it's amazing. Like, that's why I got on my arm.
Be still, know that I'm
You still
God.
didn't know. Like, that's me all the way now. Like, patience. Like, that's why when you called earlier, like, I was like, cool. No problem. I'm here.
Yes, honestly, like that's even for us, even for me and my husband too. Because we both come from, like, I used to talk about manifestation a lot, and try to control things, but in reality, you can't control anything. You can control your thoughts.
Yeah.
You can control certain things. I tell people manifestation is just the process. Prayer is it's the answer, right? So when I would talk about manifestation back in the days, because I did get a little bit lost, I was learning all these books and everything like that. And I got lost in the sense where I thought I was the one controlling it. Okay. Until I had to realize, no, I'm not the one that's controlling it. God is the one that's controlling everything within me. So I had to start releasing. I had to be like, all right, God, I'm a little tired myself now. So I think I'm going to finally be letting you go, because I'm trying to carry the weight that's not even mine.
Yeah.
And I had to stop putting so much pressure on me, because we are not the saviors. We're not the saviors. I can't help everybody like that.
So let me ask you this, like the question I was going to ask you, because I know and this is the part where I struggle with, and I know he's doing it for a reason. Like, when we do get those obstacles, right? Because no matter what, no matter how much we do the work, we're still going to have obstacles in our path.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Every day is not going to be sunshine and rainbows. But there are days where it's like, and I have a relationship with God, so I talk to him. Like, me and God talk all the time. And I'll be like,
Isn't it the best conversations, though?
Right. I'd be like, really? And I know God doesn't put us through things unless he knows we can handle it, right? But sometimes I be asking him, like, why do you think I'm that strong? Like, do you ever have those moments where, God, do you really think I'm this strong?
Absolutely.
And it's like, because I don't see that. Like, you just put me through something, and I'm like, wow.
Well, that's the beauty of it. And I just actually had this not so long ago. So what I've learned, okay, and this is the beautiful part. The reason why we go through these obstacles in life, if God doesn't put that pressure under us, we're not going to move, right?
That's true, yeah.
We're not going to move. But if he puts you through these difficulties in life, like maybe he takes away from something, maybe, you're broke at this moment, but then all of a sudden, because you're so broke, you're like, I just need something. And you start building a business, and all of a sudden your business starts growing, and you're like, whoa, like I'm no longer broke. But you see, you had to go through that obstacle in your life. God would never put you through something, like you said, that you can't handle. But the reason why he's doing that is our purpose in life. God is like that coach, right? That coach will tell you, hey, I need you to do 20 more push-ups. And you're like, but I can't, coach. Yes, you can. Yeah. Do 20 more push-ups. Keep going. And he's going to keep pushing you so you can become the best version that he created you to be. So you see, when you face those obstacles, and be like, all right, God, I'm ready. Because I know I'm going through this hard time in my life, but I know something better is coming. Because you molded me and you created me to become the best version of myself. You see, when I go through these obstacles too, I'm like, all right, I guess I need this challenge. All right, let's go. You're just look at life as you're on the next level now. And every time it's gonna get harder and harder. But every time you're actually getting rewarded for it. And it's getting better and better. And because sometimes when we try to control the situation, we think God is punishing me. Like, what did I do to deserve it? And God is like, bro, I'm not even punishing you. Do you not see what I see in you?
Right.
I see this full potential. I see that you can do more. Why do you think I gave you that vision? Why do you think I wake you up every single day and I put these people in your life? Can you not see what I'm doing in you? You see, when you're facing those obstacles and you talk to God, you're like, God, thank you for that challenge, because I know you see in me that's something I can't even see within myself. But thank you for showing me the way. You see, it's just like,
no, no.
But isn't that beautiful though? Like
it is, but and it's frustrating sometimes.
Of course.
And right now, I'm talking to the people that are just learning how to let go and give it to God. It is frustrating to me.
It is.
It is, because you think that you can't do those. You had 17 push-ups. You think you can't complete those
and
last
you can.
3, and your arms are shaking, and you just want to drop. But it goes back. I saw something on your Instagram where you put about the scripture, James 4, you have not because you ask not.
The which one?
You have not because you ask not. Most people, they don't have what they want because they haven't asked for it.
They haven't asked for it. You have to ask.
You got to ask. but it's a not a flip side to that, but it's a continuation to that. You do have to ask, but you also have to do the work.
Absolutely.
You can't just sit here and say, hey, God, I want a nice house. Okay, well, what are you doing to get that house? Like, you still got to do the work.
I tell people all the time, if you ask, be prepared.
Oh,
be prepared for it. Get ready.
And see, and this is where you got to be detailed and like, what's the word for it? I just lost my mind. You have to be intentional with what you really want. Because if you ask something, he's going to give it to you.
He's going to give it to you, because let me tell you something. If you, like this vision that I had 10 years ago, right? And God gave me the vision to do this. And I was like, all right, God, cool. Like, I'm just thinking it's like clean slate. I'm just going to do this. Yeah. Well, God just recently gave me another vision. And I was like, well, God, like, are you sure? He goes, this is what you prayed for. You thought just USA. He goes, no, worldwide. And I was like, but God, he goes, this is what you asked for. You said you wanted to do this and that. I'm like, yeah. He goes, so be ready. Get ready for what's coming, because you got to do the work for it. But get excited for it.
Yeah, and that's crazy. And it's crazy because for years, like, I've been wanting to get into the school district, and I don't know if you know, but it's so hard to get into a school district.
Is it really?
Oh my God, yeah.
Because of the regulations and everything now.
No, it's just always been hard. The district, I love the district now, so, but also found a loophole. Okay, it's not really a loophole, but it's a way in that people don't know about it, and I'll tell you offline about it. But I'm in now, and
so it wasn't hard. You just didn't. No, you just didn't know the solution for it.
I didn't have the solution, right?
Or you didn't think God was going to open the door for you.
I didn't, because actually at one point I gave up, and it was a few years ago. It's like, okay, you know what? It's too much red tape, and I get it, because you're teaching kids, and they have to be careful about who's teaching them what and this and that, right? I get the business aspect of it, and the moral aspect of it. But now that I'm in there, I've learned a lot. But when I was asking God, like, hey, I just want to get in the school district. I just want to do like a couple of workshops, just talk to a couple of kids, help kids, Now I'm there every day, full time, 7:30 in the morning, 2:00, all day. And I never in my wildest dreams thought this was a job. Mm-hmm. Like, I really be like, they really paying me for this? And I get paid good too.
That's good.
I actually just got, I'm not supposed to say this. I hope
Don't
nobody
say it.
does it.
We'll say it later.
But now I have 700 kids.
Wow.
That's how many kids are at this elementary. It's like 702 or 703, something like that.
That is awesome.
That mentoring on a daily basis.
You see?
And it's a lot, but...
It wasn't going to be easy. God said, you want this.
Oh, no, I know. And it's not. When I say they test you, like even for this past Friday, I knew it was a 3-day weekend, and it was funny because I had my chai tea, and I was just walking through campus, and it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. For some reason, kids wake up mad. I don't know why.
They don't want to go to school.
Kids wake up mad with this attitude, and I'm like, "What you mad about?" Like it's not even 8 o'clock yet.
And they'll say their life is so hard.
Yeah, like the world is ending. But all Friday morning, I was like, you know what? This is about to be a 3-day weekend. I'm not gonna let you do it to me. Not today. I said, okay, not today. It's funny. All day I just kept saying that to them.
Yeah, kids are funny. Kids are really funny. But you see, like God led you there.
He did.
You see, and he said it wasn't going to be easy.
No, and you know what? And that's not the first. Like the school I'm at now, I'm at an elementary right now, and I was at a middle school before, and I didn't even want to go to the elementary, but it was one of those things. It was like, okay, well, if this is where God wanted me. Now it's such a beautiful thing. Like I'm a part of a team. I'm the lead of my team, but there's other teams at the school that deal with different behaviors because we deal with behavior. Like I'm a mentor. Like I don't do disciplinary actions, academics, or directives. We're kind of like big brothers, right?
Okay.
Big brothers, big sisters. But we are there all day with them. But we have the psych team there, the behavior team, we have the counselors, the admin team, and then it's us. And we all work so well together.
That's good.
Like the principal and the vice principal there are like my best friends right now.
I love
because
that.
it all starts with the leadership on the top. And they just have this all-in approach. And that's like the principal, his whole thing, he always saying, I'm all in. So we all like. So
everything's just flowing.
It's all in. Even though we all have different objectives and different boundaries that we can't somewhat cross, but it's kind of like we kind of throw that out the window. No, we're all in. We're all in this together. These are all our kids. It's going. You know how they say it takes a village.
Yes.
That's how we are. No, it's going to take all of
that.
us. So and it works. Like this school that I'm at now was one of the worst elementary schools out here, and we turned that around 180.
Wow.
It's like one of the best ones now.
Is it in Lancaster or Palmdale?
Lancaster.
Lancaster. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah.
Wow.
Joshua Elementary. I'm not ashamed to say that. I can say it. Joshua Elementary. We turned that school around. It's an amazing school right now, and we did it over the last 6 months. And we was all new to that school.
Wow. You see how
Which is
God
crazy.
is so amazing.
God, the principal, vice principal, we all came in at the same time.
See, it's always God's timing.
Yeah.
All the time.
So we turned it around. We all coming back next year, and we have a plan for next year to make it even better.
And it's gonna happen. It's just gonna require a lot of work.
Oh, I don't
Easy
mind
work
it.
though.
But yeah, this.
I'm gonna circle back to that.
Okay.
So we talk about how things are hard, and can you imagine if God gave us everything and we didn't work hard for it?
Yeah.
We would be some spoiled. I mean, we're already spoiled as it is, right? But can you imagine we wouldn't even cherish our breakthrough. We wouldn't even cherish what we worked so hard for. But like just like any spoiled kid, you give them everything. What happens? They don't appreciate it.
Yeah, we want to appreciate it. Yeah.
Exactly. So now when God gives us these visions and He puts these hard obstacles in our life, it makes us appreciate the journey even better.
No,
So
absolutely.
this is one thing that I loved is like, thank you, God. Thank you. I now I look back and I'm like, thank you, God. Like I know I had to go through this and I'm sorry I got a little mad at you, but I'm glad that I went through this.
Oh, and that is true. And that's why I said I just learned it. I learned to like just let it go. And I'm just like, okay, if this is what God got planned, I'm with it.
Yeah.
And I talk to him every morning, like, okay, cool. Like, let's go.
And one thing I always say is like, God, show me how good it can get. So every single day, it's one thing that I wake up in the morning before I don't look at my phone first thing in the morning. I always like wake up in the morning. I'm like, thank you, God, for another beautiful day. But you know what? Show me how good it can get. Show me how good it can get. And you'd be surprised when you just start your morning like that. You're declaring, and God's like, all right, I'll show you how good it can get. You know, and for me, that is one thing that gets me excited in the morning because I look forward to all the beautiful things in life. How my day is going to be. It can be a simple thing for my daughter, my husband, or maybe somebody at the coffee shop. But I'm like, God, just show me how good it can get every day.
So I got one for you for at night, right? And I learned this in my positive psychology course. At the end of the day, because our day's gonna be long and stressful, right? So at the end of the day now, instead of, remember, you was talking about, only thing we control is our thoughts. And our thoughts are our reality. So at the end of the day now, opposed to me just saying, I had a bad day, I always say, you know what worked? What went well? And I think about all the good things that went well. I was able to put on new clothes today. I was able to eat today. I was able to have a roof over my head. Now, the simple things that we take for granted every day. And when you look at all those simple things, then you look back and be like, you know what? Today was actually pretty great, regardless of the obstacles we had to go through.
Yeah.
It's the simple things.
It's honestly the simple thing. One thing that gets me excited for me is, I don't know if you knew this, but about a year ago, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. So I just got the surgery for it in last December. And my thing is waking up, being grateful that I don't have a headache. Waking up and going to bed, I'm like, you know what? Today I was able to like accomplish all this. I did my podcast, I did my YouTube channel, and I didn't have a headache. So I'm like super grateful for that. And I told my husband, I was like, babe, I was able to do my steps today. I was able to do this without even feeling crazy dizzy or anything, because sometimes I still get like some dizzy. Sometimes I get dizzy,
right?
You know, and I'll be on the treadmill. And I was like, I got dizzy today, but it didn't stop me. It didn't stop me. But that's one thing that I always look forward to. That is like, wow, today was an amazing day. I didn't get no headaches. And even if I did, you ask anybody, I had my brain tumor. I was still taking care of my dad. I was still doing my podcast. I was still showing up on Instagram, on YouTube, and people never really could tell that I was having a headache because I would have migraines every single day. I was still showing up at the gym, and I was still doing the things that I loved. But you see, it's our perspective and how we can control things. I couldn't control the damn migraine, but I can control that it wasn't going to take my power away from me.
So let me ask you this. We have a few minutes, and I know you're out here and you have to do your thing. Going through those adversities, what was it? What was some of the things that you actually did to get through those adversities that helped you through it? Like, what was it? Those key things that if someone is going through something, like for instance, like when you were a child, the molestation, the migraines, or the tumors, what was it that you said, you know what, I'm gonna keep going?
The fact that I woke up every day.
Okay.
The fact that I woke up every single day, I knew that God wasn't done with me. And I had to realize, because, you know, I did get a little depressed. I did get a little sad. And I was just like, man, like, why am I going through this? I was building my business, things were going good. And I had to stop it because of the things that I was dealing with. But one thing that I can tell you is like, don't stop. If God woke you up today, it's because he's not done with you. So that was my constant reminder. My family was my reminder. And then myself. I knew that the vision that God gave me was it wasn't by accident, it was on purpose. Right. So it kept me waking me up every day. Even though when I didn't feel like it, I still showed up for myself. If God showed up for me and he woke me up today, then I got to show up for him. So that's one thing that kept me going. And that's what I've always been like that ever since I was a little kid. Still showing up for me if God woke me up. Right. If God is still here, God is still doing things in my life, is because I need to keep going. Right. There's a purpose behind it. So, you know, people say, you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. I see the light. And I'm still doing whatever it takes, even though you have all these things blocking you. I'm like, I still see it. I know it's out there, but I'm not going to let anything slow me down. And for me, I'm huge on owning your power. Right. Own your power. Even though all these obstacles, own your power. Do you know how powerful you are? You know how God is within you? Why are you afraid? Why are you not moving? Don't let those limited beliefs or that limited mindset tell you that you're not good enough, or the enemy, whatever you want to call it. No, own your power. God is within you. You're powerful. You're strong. You have what it takes. These little things that try to distract you, screw it. Just go. It's right there.
Right. No, we have the same mindset. Because that, like I was telling you before, when I went through my depression, again, God waking me up every morning, I was like, okay, you got me here for a reason. So
Yep.
let's go. I don't know what it is today, but I'm ready for it. Let's go. And then so now I teach people, you got, like me, I'm 54. And I always got to remind myself of this. I've been through 52, 53 years of all kind of stuff, all kind of trauma, adversities. I've gone through it. Why wouldn't I get through this? So when I'm going through something at the end of the day, whatever obstacle it is, I ask myself that, dang, I look back. He's gotten me through all that. Why wouldn't he get me through this?
And like I tell people, you have receipts.
Yeah.
Look at your life. Look at all the receipts.
Exactly.
So whenever you self-doubt yourself, look back and be like, well, did I go through this? Well, look at your receipt. We got receipts.
We 100% do, but we forget about this stuff.
We do.
Yeah.
So we got to remind ourselves, wait, I thought this part was hard in my life. Did I get over it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
See, we got what it takes.
Wow. I learned so much about you right now. But man, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for
and
having
sharing your
me.
story.
And you sharing too.
What's new for you? What's coming up next? I know you got that big event.
I do have that big event, God Growth and Grow.
Where is it?
It's going to be in Jurupa Valley. So if you guys are welcome, to come. Make sure you RSVP. You guys can follow my link. I'm going to have a small workshop showing people how to break free from, limited beliefs and becoming the new character unlock. I call this one the new character unlock because when you become, you're no longer your old self, but you're unlocking the new character that God created you to be. So we're going to be having vendors. We're going to be having, mocktails and everything like that. It's going to be a full day of amazing. You're spending day with God, but with a bunch of girlfriends. But husbands are welcome too. We say the husbands are welcome.
I know, but we got to wear pink.
We wear pink, yes.
I
or
saw
a black
that post.
shirt. I'm like, wear a black shirt.
shirt, yeah.
But yeah, we have a lot of amazing things coming up. My YouTube channel, if anybody wants to watch anything on YouTube, I put a lot of my content on there too. But I tell people, if you want to find me, if you want to learn how to become the best version of yourself, girlfriend, come here. This is what I do. I have a community of women who are in the process, who are taking my course, and they're loving it, and it's a one-time community where you're with me for a lifetime.
I love that. And I love that you just focusing on women. I know in a lot of your stuff, people, men can listen to it and get something from it. But I just love that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That. What's after your big event that's coming up? What's next for you? What's...
You know what? Something that I haven't talked about yet. I've actually been learning and educating myself on, this is a crazy vision that God gave me that I was even crying, but I want to learn how to be a pastor.
I read something. You
that,
did a post. You did a post
Not
about
a full
that.
pastor, but I want to learn more.
You did a post about that.
Yeah, I did a little bit. Yeah,
okay.
I did. But it just led me there. It's something that's been calling me, and I have no idea. But I said, all right, God, but I'm just letting you know, I might slip up here and there. But He's like, I don't care. But anyway, that's something that it's something that I was like, wow, am I really equipped for this? Yeah. But I'm just trusting. I'm just like,
but
God.
you know what?
Whatever He leads me to.
No, and I feel you on that because I've always been my foundation, right? I've never really read the Bible up until recently. I started reading it. And I'm like, now I'm getting more and more into it.
Isn't it fun?
No, it is. But, I did it because a lot of people was talking about it. I know a lot of people that's really faith, believe in their faith, and I do too. But they was talking about things that I didn't understand. And I hate being in a conversation when I don't know it fully. So I said, you know what? I'm going to read this Bible so I can know what they're talking about, so I can have my perspective. Because I still believe that the Bible is meant for, it's like a guideline.
Yeah,
it's up to your, it's a blueprint, right? Yeah. To your, oh my God, I can't talk right now. Perspective, right? But I think some people, and I said I don't want to say that because I'm still learning it. You can't really take it literal sometimes.
Yes.
Because I have a friend, matter of fact, she's right there, and she's Jehovah's Witness. And if you sit down and talk to her, she amazing, and she knows a lot. But it is sometimes their version of the Bible is different from ours, right? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with anybody as long as it's positive and you believe in something. I don't care. Whatever helps you. I love it. But I love her and she's amazing. And when you talk to her, it's like, wow, I just like knowledge. So
Same
I
here.
love hearing people from different backgrounds and cultures and just how they interpret things. But the Bible, you know, it's a I love hearing people's different perspectives on it because I'm learning.
For me, it's not. I tell people I'm non-churchy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest and transparent.
Okay, yeah.
I'm
Same.
non-churchy. I'm not about a religion. I'm more about a relationship.
Yes.
So when I tell you preaching or pastors, I want to dissect, I want to learn, I want to
Right.
educate myself even more. So I'm able to, because I connect the way I teach about like manifesting, right? People think manifesting is, it's
Yeah.
the new, it's, what is it, new age or whatever they call
Yeah.
it. No, I'm not about that. Manifestation, like I said, it's just the process. Prayer is the result, okay?
Right.
But it's a way to connect that way. It's like you learn that by your thoughts, your words, you know? So for me, I want to be more in tune. I want to be more educated on that
Yes.
area. Because if I'm going to be helping women, I always talk about everything with God because that's all I know.
Right.
And that's what's worked for me. It's not, I just didn't start this from one day to the other. This has been a journey within me,
Right.
you know, and for me, God has always guided me. So I love to learn more about him. I'm basically learning to have a better, closer relationship with him. It's not about how the church sees it or, like I said, non-churchy, which if you follow church, that's fine. I still go to church. I still listen to it. But for some things, I just don't resonate with it.
Right.
For me, it's about building that relationship.
Right. And that's one thing that I learned at this one church that I used to go to many years ago, and it's not around no more, and I'm sad about that. But he always taught us that your relationship with God is here. Mm-hmm. It's not here through church and up to him. Mm-hmm. It's here. And always believe that. Church is good. Fellowship is good. I love, you know, going to those meetings and going to church and fellowshipping with people. But first and foremost, my relationship is this.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Yes.
It's not through something else and then up to him.
So for me, that's what I've been working on and educating myself that way. I always tell people, and I've talked to this with God. It's like, God, what is it the next step? And he gave me that task. And I even started crying because it was very overwhelming. It was that vision. It was strong. And I said, babe, but I don't think I can. And he goes, babe, is that the vision that God gave you? You have to listen because maybe he needs you right there. I was like, okay, well, I'm taking the challenge. Let's go for it, you know? So that is one thing that's in the works, but there is a lot of things coming up that I won't speak on them yet. Okay. But you'll know.
But
see.
no, I love that though.
Like for me, I always tell people, like, I'm always very transparent. Yeah. I'm very open when it comes to, if you want to ask me something, I'm never like, try to sugarcoat anything. I don't sugarcoat anything.
And I tell my students every day, like, dude, I'm your mentor, and I'm gonna give it to you real. Because I grew up in the hood, and I know what it's like. I was you when I was your age. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it because when you sugarcoat something, that's not gonna help them.
It's not.
It's not gonna help them.
You're just lying to yourself. You're not being You're not being useful.
Right. But thank you again. You guys go check out Strong with Carlene. I'm going to put the link in there and definitely tag you in all my promos. And thank you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, like, it's been a true blessing. And I'm so grateful to see what God has more in store for you.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. We are out of here. Have an amazing weekend. And thank you again.
No, thank you.
Appreciate you.